All right, I'm interviewing my dad. Say hello.
Hello.
Thank you for sitting down and allowing me to interview you. First off, I have some questions regarding interest, loans, and like college expenses, stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start off. Vague question: is there a maximum amount of interest that can be built up?
Well, let's remember what interest is. Interest is the price of money over time. So, if someone doesn't pay back their loan, their interest can expand. It can compound, which means it can grow over time.
Yeah.
Certain types of interest cost more than others.
Okay.
A home or a mortgage has an interest rate, right?
Oh.
It's the cost of money over time relative to your home. If you don't pay it back, the bank can always at some point say, well, Graham, thanks for all your payments, but you didn't pay us it all back. We're going to come take your house. The collateral is the home.
Okay.
The cost of the money is interest. But if you go and buy a pair of jeans with a credit card and don't pay back the credit card each month, that's an unsecured loan. So the interest rate is more like 22%, right?
Okay.
Versus a home that maybe the mortgage today is 4% or 3%. They can always come and get your house if you don't pay, but they're not going to come get the pair of jeans you bought if you don't pay.
Okay.
Higher risk, higher interest, and interest is simply matching the amount of risk or the cost of money over time.
Okay.
So no, you can. The answer is you can build it up
Okay.
if you don't pay it.
Appreciate it. So I guess this kind of connects. What happens if you don't pay back a loan for long enough?
Well, many things happen, but in the case of a house, they'll come and just take your house. It's called being foreclosed on. They take your home.
What
The
about
home
like
is
a
the
college
collateral.
loan? Like a student debt kind of situation.
Your student debt will build up over time. If you don't pay it back, the interest rate will sit there and go and keep getting bigger and bigger. Over time, the amount of money will get bigger.
Like passed down a generation will like
No, that does happen in some countries. Loans are generational.
okay.
So when you take a loan out and you want to buy something, you're actually taking a loan out that you will pay back during your lifetime, and then your kids will pay back. That doesn't happen here. Loans are specific to individuals in most cases, but you have to pay it back, or you don't, or it really hurts your credit score.
Yeah. Okay, so is there any kind of loan in specific that would you say is most beneficial or most commonly asked for?
Well, mortgage is probably one of the most common loans.
That's for houses.
That's for homes,
Okay.
right? People also sometimes borrow money to buy a car, right? Car loan, right? You don't pay it back, they
Would you
come
say
take the
like
car.
student loans are
Student loans are very common, absolutely. And those, the government tries to help out making those cheaper by getting government student loans. But yes, obviously, very, very common.
all right, yeah, that's like the basis of this project.
Okay.
Is us trying to calculate what our loans amounts might be like in the future and our expenses.
Well, remember, how well you pay back your loans is indicative as to what your interest rate will be. If
Okay.
you're a poor person, in other words, poor in the sense that you don't pay back your debts, that's going to make your loans more expensive in the future. If you don't pay me back and I charged you 5% the first time, the next time I'm going to charge you 7%.
Okay.
You're a bad risk. It's more expensive.
Okay. So, all right. So, next question is: can you limit how much interest builds up against you with any form of insurance? Like, will insurance?
You can insure a loan. That's what mortgage back. You can. In homes, yes.
Okay.
But you still are spending money to buy the insurance.
Yeah.
To ensure that you pay back the loan. So
Uh-huh.
it's still a cost, right? It doesn't come for free.
Can you use insurance with like student loans? Can insurance go to any loan?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Okay. So for a person, if a person has like a perfectly clean record with their bank, can a loan still be refused?
Yes, if the bank deems that the risk or the loan that the person is asking for is too risky for them to loan against.
Okay.
So, Graham has a perfect record. He pays back everything on time. And he wants to go and borrow from the bank $1 million to go buy $1 million of lotto tickets.
Uh-huh.
The bank has every right to go, no. not such a good. You don't have a job, or you make $20,000 a year and you want to borrow $1 million. Show me how you're going to pay that back. And if it's unsecured, something they can't go collect against, if you don't pay, chances are they might say no.
Even if you have a clean record with
it's a measurement of risk.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's just determined by that one bank.
Well, it's determined by the bank that you're asking a loan for, but it also can be determined, by what you're asking to borrow the money for.
Yeah.
Right? They have every right to know.
Okay, that makes sense. So now, what does a credit score mean, and how does it relate to loans and interest?
So a credit score is the measurement of how well you have paid back over time.
Yeah.
If you pay your bills, your gas bill, your phone bill, your car loans, you pay everything on time, this means you have a good credit score, right? You're a good credit risk. If you don't pay things back on time, or you've had bills that you didn't pay, right? Or if you are very late on your payments, this will hurt your credit score. Over time, what does that mean? That the next loan you go to buy is going to be more expensive. Graham's a guy who has a good credit score. His loan is at 4%. Why? The bank says he's a good risk. We'll loan him money at 4%. Here comes Mike. He doesn't pay his bills back on time. We're still going to make him a loan, but because he pays back poorly, his credit score is lower. He's going to pay 7%. Graham's paying 4%, higher credit score. Bad credit score for Mike, he's paying higher, he's paying 7%.
So the higher the credit score, the more the reward?
Correct. You always want a higher credit score. Better credit score means you're a better risk.
Okay. They're gonna be more likely to loan more if you have a better credit score.
Correct.
Which means less interest, or
means a lower interest rate potentially. Yeah. Correct.
All right.
Banks are no different than how you or I would behave.
Yeah.
If it was your money, you're going to loan it to somebody you know is going to pay you back.
Okay.
But if they want an exorbitant amount of money to be loaned, they make $50,000 a year and they want to go borrow $5 million on something ridiculous. Well, guess what? You may say, no thanks, not me. I'm not loaning it to you.
Yeah. All right. So now these are kind of this is a college question. Do you recommend living in a dorm for all 4 years if somebody's trying to save money?
No, dorms cost money. The price costs money.
Oh.
It's not free.
Do you think it's cheaper though?
Probably, or equivalent or closer to. But I believe no. I believe you should get an apartment, that you should look at getting a credit card your senior year because you need to build credit. Yeah. You need to establish a pattern of paying your bills on time, right?
Yeah.
Establishing credit's a very important thing.
Yeah. Okay. So why do you think at this point in my life my teacher wants us to be learning about interest? And do we really need to know about it right now?
I think it's a fantastic thing your teacher is doing, forcing you to learn about interest. A lot of kids get money and it comes from the revenue ferry, right? Mom, I need $50. Can I have $50? And I get $50. That is not normal. Most kids have to work and work very hard for $50. It is important at a very young age you understand the value of money and interest, because not just paying back money on time shows who you are in terms of your creditworthiness, but it's also your knowledge of interest that says, the sooner I save money at a younger age, I will have far more money when I'm older. Interest is money being paid to you. The more you can save at a young age and understand what interest is, the more money you're going to have when you get older. The better you pay back your loans and establish credit, the cheaper it is going to be for you to go borrow money for a mortgage, for a car, for whatever you need. Understanding interest and credit is wickedly important.
All right. Thank you. So we kind of already talked about what a credit score is.
Yep.
How that impacts an interest rate. I guess how exactly do you receive a loan? I guess that's a pretty basic question and answer.
Well, sure, that's a good question. I mean, let's take a home, for example. You meet a nice young lady and you say, you know what, we're going to get married, we're going to buy a house, and we're going to start having kids. So first off, you got to say, what am I capable of affording? What can I live within? So Graham goes out there, he's got a good job, makes $80,000, $100,000 a year, and he's going to go borrow money to buy a home. Can he go buy a home that costs $2 million, $3 million? Probably not. Probably a lot for someone who makes $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
Point is, you're going to go to a bank, and they're going to look at you, how much income you make, and what your credit history is. They're then going to say, what do you want the money for? I want to buy a house. How much is the house? Where is it located? Is it in a flood plain? Is it a nice house? Is it a house that's going to, flood with every rain and go away? They're going to look at all those things to say, Graham, we want to loan you money. Because we're in the business of loaning money and getting paid back interest, getting paid back more than what it costs us to go borrow the money. So a bank gets the money from the federal government. It's called the federal funds rate. Maybe they borrow at 2%. They then turn it to Graham, who wants to buy it for a house, and say, Graham, you're a good boy, you're a good risk, the house is something you can afford, we're going to loan it to you at 5%. You then get the money, they give you let's say the house costs $500,000, they give you $500,000, right? Actually, you have to put down 20%.
Yeah.
So
always?
Yes, 20%. So you're going to borrow $400,000 on a $500,000 house, okay? Because 10% of 500 is 50, 20% is 100. $500,000 house means you're going to borrow $400,000. You're going to come up with the other $100,000, and the bank says, "Yep, it's a good house in a good area. You're a good guy. We're going to loan you the money. You have a good job. We know you're going to pay us back," and they make 3% spread.
And then the interest starts building up.
Right away, you have interest that you pay down with every single payment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So. All right, so I know people may file for bankruptcy if they get overwhelmed by debt. Does filing for bankruptcy get rid of loans as a whole?
Well, there's two types of bankruptcy. There's Chapter 7 and Chapter 11. So I'm getting too complicated, but let's just look at it this way.
Yeah.
It gets rid of your debt, but you typically can't go borrow money for 7 years. After you declare bankruptcy.
Okay.
So people say, just go declare bankruptcy. If you have too much debt and you can't do it, declare bankruptcy, and the court comes in and steps in and wipes out all your debt.
Like a reset?
It gives you a reset.
Okay.
But you can't just go, great, I'm going to go borrow money again. 7 years. You have to go build up your credit. You have to go build up money. You have to save money. You have to live really frugally and everything to prove and establish a source of income and a pattern before anyone's going to loan you money again.
Does your Does your credit score reset as well?
After 7 years, yeah.
Interesting. So, so you go bankrupt, but what if you do have money to spend?
Well, that's what you're going to have to spend, but you can't just say, I want to go bankrupt. It would hurt you badly in your credit score.
Okay.
It isn't total forgiveness. It's forgiveness from your creditors, those you borrowed against, so they can't chase you and run your life.
Yeah.
But it's only 7 years. Very hard way to function if you need to borrow for a home or a car or whatever.
Yeah. All right.
You don't want to go bankrupt.
Exactly. All right. I don't plan on it, hopefully.
No way. You will not.
All right. That is it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Happy to help.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
I'll be getting back to you.
Live alone?
I appreciate the information. Maybe. All right.
You're a good boy.
Thank you. Adios.